It was one of the most exciting days of my life. And my big break. It was 2006, I was in Philadelphia. I got to speak to a large group of business people, and I got to share the stage with one of my heroes. After everyone left, he comes up to me and he goes, "How'd you do?" I says, "They loved it. They were inspired. They were really excited." He goes, "How much did you sell at the back of the room?" I said, $10,000 worth of products. Never happened before in my life. He says, "Good." I said, "I know, but I have a feeling that everybody loved the program. They got really excited and focused. But I just don't know how long they're going to stay focused." You know what he said to me? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And it really bothered me. And I thought to myself, how many people get excited and they get focused, but they don't stay focused? Like New Year's Eve resolutions, people get so excited. So I spent the next 10 years studying, figuring out why do some people stay focused after they get focused, where the majority of people get focused and then they stop the focus. So that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about how to get focused on what's important to you and how to stay the course, because very few people do. So let me ask you this. What do you think most people rely on to get focused? Or better question, what do you rely on? What do you rely on to get focused? Willpower. Good. Anybody else?
Motivation.
Motivation, willpower.
Need.
Need. What do you mean? What do you mean need?
If I
Necessity?
Yeah, necessity, or if there's something, I don't know, to keep our house warm, we have to cut wood and put the wood in the fire.
Right,
You
so
gotta stay
need.
focused on, you need it, you need to do it.
Urgency. You're gonna make it happen. So need, willpower. What was the other one? Motivation. Anybody else? What if there were an easier way? And that's what we're going to talk about. 3 steps so that you can get focused and stay focused, which is really easy, because these are all great answers, but there's a better answer. The better answer is that most people, they focus on their conscious mind to make things happen, and that works sometimes, but there actually is a better way, and that's what we're going to talk about. So you're going to be able to walk out of here by 6:30, and you're going to have a formula to get focused and stay focused. That's my promise. I wish you were with me. It was 1972. I was in Danbury, Connecticut with my family, big Italian family, 34 of us, all at my grandparents' house on Christmas Day. Big Italian family. The only person that was Irish there was my father and also my uncle Victor. And now this is before cell phones. This is before people were attached to their computer. They actually sat at the table, they ate, they participated. So the room was filled with smoke. People smoked inside. People were talking, people were happy, people were, really excited. And all of a sudden, my Uncle Victor, who kind of reminds me of like St. Nicholas, but really skinny, he has a twinkle in his eye. He reaches down into his pocket. This is a true story. Picks up a quarter, goes like this, and it disappeared. Vic, where did that go? Can't tell you, kid, it's a secret. I know, but I can keep a secret. Yeah, so can I, Greg. So that night, literally, I begged him for maybe 2 hours so he would tell me. Because I was thinking to myself, if I could learn this, I would be really cool in school. Finally, he says, "Okay, Greg, come here." I was able to do it with misdirection. So that was the night that changed my life. I would not be here today if it weren't for that happening in 1972. That was the night that my Uncle Victor introduced me to misdirection. Now, who is misdirection? She's a trickster. And every single magician knows about misdirection, but you don't have to be a magician to know about misdirection. If you've ever tried to get focused on something and you get off track, then you know misdirection. And so what misdirection does is she uses distraction in 2 categories. One is multitasking, and the other one is overwhelm. But what she wants to do is get you off track. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Rather than just telling you, let me show you. Put everything aside, the papers, the pens, the phones, the notes. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Take your hand like this, just like me, and then close it like that, and then bring one finger up just like that. Okay, we have to start over because that's your thumb, not your finger. So that's a little bit of misdirection, a little bit of misdirection. Okay, I'm sorry about that. What she taught me was that the conscious mind is easily distracted. So I want to show you this so that you remember. So take your fingers like this, just like me, make a circle. See how I have a circle there? So I bring my thumbs in my finger and I make a circle. You see, everybody have a circle? All right, hold it right next to your ear and put it right on your chin. Now this is your chin, okay, for some of you. Yeah, so last January, I'm in Vegas. Your first name is Penny, right? So Penny's sitting very close. David Copperfield's on stage, and I'm sitting right next to him. I paid like $150 to be at the show. I know you didn't pay that much. But David Copperfield walks out with nothing in his hands. Nothing in his hands. He goes like this, he goes like this. And then what he does is he misdirects the audience. So I want to show you this. So take your two hands like this, and you're going to take your left. You're going to take your left, and you're going to bring it over your right. Now, if you go out to Vegas and you go to MGM, this is how he opens the show. It's pretty impressive. Now, what you want to do, don't hurt yourself, but bring it down like this and hold it really tight. Your pinkies are at the top. Can't see everybody. Sean's over there. Your thumbs are at the bottom. All right? Now, don't hurt yourself, but just do this. Ready? Now do this. Misdirection. So what misdirection showed me is that the conscious mind, say this with me, the conscious mind is easily distracted. So what she shared with me when my uncle showed me the coin trick is that people who rely on their conscious mind to get something done, or their willpower or motivation, they may be able to do it, but there's a better way. So I want to show you how I did it. Spoiler alert, but you just have to promise. You have to promise that you don't show anybody. Like, you can do it with your nephews or your friends or your family. Just promise me that you don't give the secret. So I'm going to share a trade secret with you. And now, like I say, if you go out to MGM in Vegas, David has been doing this probably for 25 years. So take your hands like this. Your left is going over the right, just like that. And then what I did, hold it just there for a second. What I did was I let go. So I brought it like this. Don't do it yet. But what I did is I let go and I pointed to my thumb. So while you were looking at your fingers, what I did is I let go. So this time, I want you to focus. I want you to focus on when I let go. See, the conscious mind is easily distracted. So let's do it again. But this time, when I do it, I want you to focus on when I let go. Everybody? All right. Left over the right. Go like this. Now, the pinkies are at top. Look at me, not you. Right? Look at me, not you. Now, the thumbs are at the bottom. Now, this is where I let go. But I don't have to because I already did. Misdirection. So what misdirection taught me as a young child when I was 10 years old on Christmas is that the conscious mind is easily distracted. You just can't follow it. So the way that she uses this is two ways: multitasking and overwhelm. And so let me share a little bit about multitasking. It's kind of sad, but 400,000 people every year who are driving a car get into an accident in America simply because what they're doing is they're driving the car and they're doing something else. They're multitasking, which is not a good idea. Let me show you what I mean. So they're driving the car, they're doing something else, and 400,000 people every year in America get hurt just because they're driving a car, they're doing something else. They're looking at their cell phone. On average, this is going to shock you, on average, people pick up their cell phone 2,600 times a day to tap it, swipe it, and click it. So 2,600 times they tap it, swipe it, and click it. And unfortunately, sometimes they text while they're driving, which is not good. The person that goes to work, whether it's the library or someone else, I do a lot of speak for organizations and businesses. People get so distracted at work that they waste 12.5 hours per week at their job. They're just not engaged. Now, I don't know how they figure this out, but $650 billion is wasted every single year because people are not engaged in their job. Or what they're doing is they're doing their job, but they're also focusing on something else. And sadly, 4,000 people die every year because they're trying to multitask when they're driving a car. How many of you looked at the ball, right? So it's kind of sad and serious because multitasking is a trick, but it also can be deadly, definitely deadly. The other thing she uses is overwhelm. Now, this is how she does it. We can't focus on everything. Can't focus on the ball, what I'm doing, and looking at your cell phone at the same time. So there was a guy years ago that wrote a paper called The Magical Number of 7. How many? How many? 7, yeah. And what he said was, there's billions of bits of information going on in the room right now. We can't track it all. It's totally impossible. So he says about 7 bits of information minus 2, so maybe 9 or 5, but we can't focus on everything. It's totally impossible. I don't know if you've ever seen this thing on Google called the monkey business illusion. Has anybody seen this? Nobody? All right, spoiler alert. You can watch this later. It's called the monkey business illusion. By the way, you don't have to take notes. There's a video running, and if you give me your email later, you'll get the video. So you can watch this 100 times to see everything I'm talking about. So the monkey business illusion is fabulous. They have 2 teams. They have a black team over here all dressed in black like me. They have another team over there that's white, and they're both passing the basketball. This team over here is passing the basketball. That team over there is passing the basketball. And the only instruction is you've got to count how many times the basketball is being passed over here with the black team. So there's an audience comes in, they watch the video, and some people say 14 or 15, or the answer is 16, spoiler alert. Then they say to the group, did you see the gorilla? They have a guy, how tall are you, John?
5'11".
5'11". They have a guy like 5'11", almost 6 feet, in a gorilla suit, walks in, beats his breast, goes like this, walks right between the 2 teams, and only 50% of the people see the guy dressed in the gorilla suit because they're focusing over here. Now, I don't have a gorilla, but it would be equivalent to me saying, look around the room for everything that's red. My socks are red, you're wearing red, she got a red hat, there's red over here, there's red on the fire alarm. We could find the flag, we could find 7 things that are red, right? Easy. But then if I said to you 7 things that are blue, now add 7 things that are blue. You're wearing blue, the ball over there is blue, we can see the flag is blue, we can find 7 things that are blue, no problem. However, if I say, okay, now find 7 things that are red on top of it, or 7 things that are blue on top of that, you could not keep up with that. There's no way, because we just can't. So back to the monkey business illusion. They showed the movie again to the same people. They said, this time look for the gorilla. Just, okay, they're going to pass the ball, don't worry about that. You can count that if you want, but look at, Sean walking in with the gorilla suit. So this guy walks in, he goes like this, and they asked him, hey, did you see the gorilla? And everybody said they felt good about themselves. They said, yeah, we did. Every single person saw the gorilla. Then they said this, did you notice the screen turned colors from blue to red? Nobody noticed. Nobody noticed. So if you're taking notes, the first thing I learned back in '72 is that the conscious mind is easily distracted. So if you have New Year's resolutions and you get focused, if you try to stay focused using willpower or motivation or need, that will work. But a lot of times we get misdirected or off track because we're relying on the conscious mind and something else comes up and we are derailed. So when I was thinking about this, I thought, okay, well, if the conscious mind is easily distracted, what about the unconscious, the other than conscious, the subconscious? Maybe that's the answer. Well, here's the challenge. Your conscious mind is already programmed. People who study this say between the ages of 1 and 8, 80% of what you think, what you say, what you do, and how you grow up, and how you act, and your confirmation biases are already set in stone by the time you're 8 years old. 80% of it. It was in the 70s, I don't remember when, I was sitting with my mom, my dad was there, my sister, we're watching television, and all of a sudden these commercials come on for like The Exorcist, and my mom was really religious. She would roll her eyes, and I go, Mom, what's up? She goes, Gregory, be careful what you expose your mind to. I said, Mom, it's just a commercial, it's no big deal. She said, no, it's not. Be careful what you expose your mind to, because it will influence you. What you see, what you feel, and what you hear. Now, I didn't believe her. I was like, I don't know, 14, 15. I just kind of rejected what my mom had to say. But then I realized she was kind of telling me the truth. And I think the best example is a movie called Groundhog Day. Have you guys seen it? I love this movie. So Phil Connors, think of a triangle. Phil is at the top of the triangle. It's me, 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 me. He doesn't care about anybody else. He's the star of the show, and he just doesn't care about anybody else. So he's in Philadelphia, Puxatawny, and he has to do this thing with the groundhog. So in the morning, the alarm clock goes off, and then there's a song. Does anybody remember the song? Don't make me sing it. It's Sonny and Cher. I got you, babe. Remember that? All right. So you remember it. So this is crazy. I mean, we remember these things because we see it, we hear it, and we feel it. Like, for instance, this commercial hasn't been on television since January 10th, 84. And it is, where is the beef? Beef! That didn't even run a year. Or here's another one. Don't squeeze the Charmin. It's crazy how we know these things. Barry Manilow came up with this jingle. You deserve a break today at McDonald's. So all of these things, they're running in our subconscious mind because we've heard them over. And what advertisers do is they use music, so we hear it, we feel it, we see it, and they run it over and over and over again. So back to Phil. The alarm clock goes off. I got you, babe. And then all of a sudden he hears this, two announcers. Rise and shine, campers, and don't forget your booties because it's cold outside. It's Groundhog Day. Gets up, walks over there, looks out the window to Nobbler Hill. People are going to Nobbler Hill. You know, it's Groundhog Day. Next day, it's the same day. Next day, same day. And he's like, what in the world? So he's trying to break the pattern. And he's trying to break the pattern using his conscious mind because he thinks if I just change the environment of my conscious mind, everything else will change. It doesn't work. Now, people who love this movie say it goes on for 1,000 years. I don't know, but it probably was more than a year. So over and over again, he tries to change, but he's trying to change using his conscious mind. What is getting in the way is Phil. Because it's his beliefs and it's his values. Think of the triangle again. At the top of the triangle is who? Phil. So until that shifts, nothing else happens. Now this should startle you. On average, we have 45 to 65,000 thoughts every single day. And 90% of them will be repeated tomorrow. Let me say it again. 45 to 65,000 thoughts every single day, and 90% of them will be repeated tomorrow. And people who study neuroscience say about 50%, now this gets back to the programming of our conscious, unconscious mind, 50% of what we think, say, and do is going to be repeated over and over and over again. So think about your own life. Clothes that you wear, same clothes, the people that you see, the places you go, the food that you eat, there should be patterns that you're thinking of. How many of you are thinking of those, right? So here's something I'd like you to think of. Just think of a number between 1 and 10, like 3 but not like 3. How many of you automatically thought of 7? Raise your hand. 1, 2, all right? The rest of you thought of different numbers. All right, now I'd like you to think of a color. Actually think of 2 colors. How many of you thought of red and blue? Raise your hand, okay? Now I'd like you to think of 2 different geometric shapes, one inside the other, not like a square. Got it? How many of you thought of triangle and a circle? So look at your card. There is a triangle. There is a circle. It is red. And on the other side, it is blue. So all of these things, and by the way, what is on the card? 7 of diamonds. So these are all things that I put into the lecture to perhaps condition you to think about either 7, or think about red, or blue, or a triangle. See, I'm wearing a triangle. When you came into the room, most of you, I pointed out the triangle, mentioned that it was red, also mentioned on the other side, it says Dwyer, ebook.com in blue. That was all on purpose. Because most of us, we struggle with our subconscious because we have been programmed from childhood. So if the conscious mind will not help us, because we could get distracted, willpower and motivation or just need sometimes doesn't work, and the subconscious is already programmed, what hope is there for us? That's what I was thinking. Now, I don't know about you, but I have struggled. 1999, I lived in Ohio. I wanted to move back to Connecticut, and I thought to myself, if I could just move back to Connecticut, everything would change. But you know, when you change locations, you're still the same person. I started listening to tapes and books and going to seminars. I spent thousands and thousands of years in a decade just trying to figure these things out because I felt the same struggle. Like I knew what I wanted, but I didn't always stay focused, or I would take 2 or 3 steps forward and then a step back. As we approached 2000, remember the whole thing was Y2K? Do you remember that? So everybody was thinking about Y2K and the new millennium, whether it's 2000 or 2001, but all I was thinking about is having a better life. And so I spent most of my time reading, getting involved in self-development because my life was good, don't get me wrong, I wasn't living in my car. It's just that it wasn't where I wanted it to be. I wanted to have a better life. I remember one day I found out Jim Rohn. Does anybody know Jim Rohn? Motivational business speaker. You know him? He was speaking in Boston and I wanted to go. This is early on, I think maybe 2002 or so. And I knew I had to get there because Jim was getting up there in age. And so I drove to Boston from Connecticut. And this was the day when they had toll booth people, you know, that there was no Easy Pass. So as I'm driving, I literally did not have the money to pay the toll booth. I had just bought a house, had a mortgage, I was just getting by financially. I wasn't really living the life of my dreams, but I had desire. So I had this big jar of coins, and when I got to the toll booth, I actually paid the lady with coins. That's how desperate I was. Now, things are a little different. I own my house, I have no debt, I travel the world, I get to speak at different places, get to meet great people, and I do what I want, when I want, with whom I want, and I'm self-employed. What do you think the difference was from there to here? Any guesses? Just guess. What do you think?
I don't know. Focus.
Yeah. Focus, definitely focus, yeah. Anybody else?
Fear.
What do you mean fear?
Fear of taking the next step.
Over there?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what happened is I was speaking in Vegas, and I was speaking to a large group of business people, and after my presentation, there was a party of business people and entertainers, which I was not invited to. And I wanted to get there because there was a guy there that I met through the internet. I had seen his work and read his books. His name is Kenton Nepper. And I wanted to meet him, but I didn't have an invitation to the party. So I called up a good friend of mine, Paul. And I said, Paul, you going? He goes, yes, I'm going. He has a girlfriend. I said, yeah, can you invite somebody? He goes, yep, I'll invite you. So I was able to get into the party because proximity is power. And I met this guy, and that was the first time I met him. But there was something about him. He kind of reminds me still to this day like the Wizard of Oz. He stands about this tall, got a long beard, very mystical, and very successful. Very successful. And he's kind of like a business wizard and also a musician and a magician. So then I got to meet him at a conference, and then later on I got the courage to ask him if he would coach me on his success. And I paid him a ridiculous amount of money, and I literally moved into his house for 2 days. And it was one-on-one coaching. His wife left, we spent 2 days, one night, totally absorbed in this topic that I'm sharing with you during this hour. And I can't share everything with you, but I'll give you the highlights of it. So I said to him, I said, Kenton, what is the secret to your success? What is the difference between getting focused and staying focused and being on track and being successful in business or in life? He said to me, Gregory, can you keep a secret? And I said, why? He said, because what I'm about to tell you, you can't just tell people flippantly. You can show them, you can teach them, you can mentor them, but you just can't tell people in passing. So what I'm about to share with you, I don't share with my friends or my family because they don't want to hear it from me. But I do share it with people that are, hungry and they want to know about it. So I said, what's the answer? I promise I'm not going to, just put it out there on the internet. What is the answer? And he said to me, you need to know what's important to you. So that's why I had you all write down on that card something that's important to you. And you must consciously condition your unconscious mind for what you want. And I went, what? Can you say that again? He says, you must consciously condition your unconscious mind for what's important to you. And I went, oh, how do So let me show you what I'm talking about. Imagine that I have in my hand a knife. And in this hand, I have a lemon. Actually, let's do it this way. Imagine that you have in your hand, in your left hand, a knife. So look at your left hand. And then imagine in the other hand, you have a lemon. So we're going to use imagination. Actually, let me do it this way. This is probably going to be easier for you and everybody. So all you have to do is imagine that what is in your hand, your left hand, is a knife. And in the other hand, separate your hands, imagine that you have a lemon. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use your imagination or tap into your imagination. So hold up your knives, left hand, and then bring it down, and then take a look at your lemon. Okay. Now bring your lemon. I don't know if you can smell it, but if you're tapping into your imagination, you might be able to do it. And then you kind of feel how it's rough or there's bumps on it. You feel that too? So you're smelling it, you're feeling it, right? Now imagine that you're going to do this with me. You're going to take the knife and you're going to cut into the lemon, and imagine that the juices are coming down your arm. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take your lemon, and you're going to do what I'm doing. You're going to put it to your mouth. How many of you have felt that? Raise your hand. That you actually experienced it. Okay, a couple of you. My friend James Mates, I've known this guy for years. It's about in the 70s. He actually does this with a live lemon. Live lemon. And it takes him like 5 minutes to recover. So if you felt it, if you felt the puckering, I know you did. Anybody else, Sean, did you feel it too? All right. Anybody else, raise your hand. Did you actually use your imagination and feel it? You did, Penny? Okay. Excellent. Anybody else? All right, Penny, would you join me on stage?
No.
Okay, Sean, would you join? Who wants to join? Give him a hand. All right, so face the audience. Hold up your hands like this. Now, what did you feel in that? No, you got to have your hands closed. So what did you feel in this hand?
The knife.
The knife. And what did you feel in this hand?
The lemon.
The lemon. And did you actually feel it?
Yes.
All right. So Sean used his imagination. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much of your imagination did you use?
8.
8. Wonderful. What about you? How much did you use it?
Probably the same.
Okay, great. So here's what I want to show you. This is a fork, right? And it gets even better, Sean. Take a look at this. Wasn't a lemon. And open that up. Just open it up and see what it says.
Imagination.
There you go. Imagination. Give him a hand. Thank you. So Penny, you had your hand up. Come on up. Come on up. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. I won't embarrass you. It'll be fun. It'll be fun. All right, so you wrote something down on that card. Nobody knows. You know. Anybody in the audience know?
No.
I don't know?
No.
All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to have you do an exercise that just focuses on imagination. It's going to be fun. I promise not to embarrass you. We're all going to learn, so I appreciate you helping me. On a scale to 1 to, let's see, 1 to 3. So 1 is like on the floor, 2 is like right here, and 3 is up towards the ceiling. How confident do you feel about this being in your life, or you having this? Like, in other words, if you put down love or travel, you know, you say, I feel really good, that's like a 3, and 2 is like right in the middle, and 1 on the floor is like, I wrote it down, I love it, I feel very strongly about it, I don't know if I'm going to get it. Without telling me what it is, how do you feel, 1, 2, or 3?
2.
2, so you're right in the middle. This is absolutely perfect. All right, let's see if we can play with Penny's imagination, because this is what Kenton told me. He says, people who are successful, they know how to get focused, but what keeps them focused is their imagination, their long term, with what they see. And that's what we're going to focus on. So that's why I had the lemon there. So take your hands like this, face the audience. I'll invite you to face the audience. Now imagine, that you're using your imagination. Imagine that in between your 2 hands is a ball of energy. So I want you to see this ball of energy, and it's white. And inside the ball, between your 2 hands, is what you want, what you wrote down. So imagine that your hands are coming together. Now, I'm not going to do this to her. It's not like I have any power over her. I'm simply inviting her to play along, and very intelligent people are able to catch on to this really quickly. What happens is your hands tend to come together because it is easy and effortless for your hands to kind of close together as you're thinking about what you want. You want to get closer to what you want, closer and closer to what you want, and almost imagine like a magnet is pulling your fingers together as you're thinking about what's important to you. What's important to you is also yours to have. So you said you were a 2. Let's see if we can get you up to a higher number like that by just doing this visualization of bringing your fingers together, which is an indication that your subconscious and your conscious mind are working in harmony to bring you what you want as your fingers and hands are coming closer and closer and closer and closer together. So how are you doing? Are they closer? Any closer?
Yes,
Okay, just a little bit or a lot of it?
a little bit.
Okay, great. All right, so don't tell me the number. So we're going to give you a number between 1 and 12, and this is between you. You don't have to say it. So 1 was down at the floor, 2 was where you were before we did this, right? So then you could go up, don't tell me, you could go up to 3, you could go up 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So pick that number in your head, all right? Don't tell me. So this first part is visualization. So people who stay focused and get focused, they have a habit, I would call it a habit, of seeing it, but seeing it in their imagination. They visualize, they visualize, like today, I visualized coming here. I know there was talk of snow, but I visualized, I'm going to meet some really great people. The snow's not going to hold people back. And I kind of had a vision that even though it was snowing in Litchfield when I left, nevertheless, everything was going to work out and be fun. Okay, so I kind of saw it before I got here, right? Make sense?
Yes.
Now, the second thing is you want to feel it. You want to feel it. This is what's really important. Kim, can you grab me one of those pens over there? Because I think I don't have a black pen. So I'm going to have you write something down. So writing something down is a powerful way of driving it into your unconscious mind. So about 20 years ago, I wrote down that I wanted to go to Fiji, that I wanted to travel the world, I wanted to go to Europe. But like 20 years ago, I had no money, and I had no, with the opportunity to wherewithal to really make it happen. I was kind of struggling, So I didn't do it, but I wrote all of these things down, and like 80% of what I wrote down came true. It's pretty good odds. So I've been to Fiji, I travel all around the world, I have a travel company, I take people on retreats. The next one I have is Ireland, then we're going to Israel, then we're going to Italy. So I've been writing this stuff down for years, because what I'm doing is I'm driving it into my unconscious mind. That's really important. So here's what we'll do. We'll do a little exercise here. And I'll tell you a true story. What I'd like you to do is on the other side of the card, just write down, print what you wrote down. So you're going to just print it. And then I'd like you to write down the number that you are now. Before you were a 2, I'm hoping that you're higher, but I don't know what it is. So there's 2 exercises. One is pick a number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Circle it, and then write the word that you were thinking of. And then while you're doing that, you can turn that way. I'll turn this way. I'll tell you a true story. Yeah, you wrote down over there, just copy it. So if you wrote down love there, just write down love there. So Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, whether you like them or not, the very first time they met, they went to a wedding. Bill sat over there, Warren sat over here. And one of the moms, I don't know which one, said, I need to know, how come you're so successful, Bill, and how come you're successful, Warren? And I need the pen too. And so Bill was over here, he was over here, and they simply wrote down a word. They didn't look at each other. They were totally separated, and we didn't work anything out, right?
No.
All right, so what do you think they wrote down? Just take a guess. One guy wrote down a word, the other person wrote down a word. Just take a wild guess what you think it was. What do you think? It was. And when I, congratulations, give her a hand. It was focus. So Bill wrote down the word focus. Warren wrote down the focus, you wrote down a word, and you also wrote down a number. You started with, I think you started at 2. So I want to show you how powerful this is. We're going to do a little exercise. This is for you to hold for now. And I will show you how this works. So I invite you to face the audience and hold this in your most dominant hand. And I want you to think about what you wrote down. Oh, we're just going to have it steady, steady, steady.
Oh.
Yeah, no problem. And how many of you have the pendulums? Did everybody get one? So I invite you, if you have one, while we're doing this, just think about what you wrote down. What you wrote down. So this is what I've learned. This is a way to get into the subconscious mind without looking at your pendulum or without looking at your watch. Try to hold it steady. Try to hold it steady. Now think about everything or what you wrote down. Got it? Now think about whether it's good enough or good for you. In other words, it's good for you, it's good for other people. Okay? Now what I've learned is if you don't focus on the watch, if you don't focus, it will go around in a circle if it's good for you. So if you wrote down love, see how mine's going around in a circle? Things that go around in the circle have cycles, which is a good indication of it being good for you. Now if it's going back and forth like this, it might be that you don't know if it's good for you, like it's a yes or it's a no. Does that make sense? So Penny, without looking at the watch, just kind of think about what's important to you. And try to hold it a little steady. What do you notice about it? Okay, so just think about what's important to you. Think about what's important to you. And don't really focus on the watch per se. All right? And then the rest of you take a look at yours and see and think about what's important to you as well. All right? And then see what happens.
It's getting pretty heavy.
Oh yeah, if you hold it a long time, it would be. All right, so think about what's important to you. Think about what's important to you. All right? How are the rest of you getting? Kim, do you not have one?
I don't have one.
Oh, okay. Well, there's one on the table if you want to grab it. All righty. So what's your experience? Which way?
Yeah, I'm not focused.
Okay, no, think about what you want. Think about what you want. Let me see. Do you think it's good for you what you want?
Yes.
Okay, good. So see what it does. See what it does. Now it seems like it's going back and forth a little bit. Do you notice it's kind of going back and forth? All right. What about the rest of you? Are you guys getting a read on it at all?
I should have wrote something else down on my card.
What did you write down? Don't
Love.
tell me. What's that?
Love.
Oh, and what is it doing?
Not much.
Well, I see yours is going around in the circle, and it's a good
I was
indicator.
going to say 9, yeah.
Yeah, right, to see how it changed? So it's kind of a good indication that what you want will come true. So you can hold on to that, have a seat, give her a hand. Give her a hand. All right, so the last thing I want to show you, I think is worth probably $1,000. This is a great exercise that will help you internalize what Kenton showed me. We have about 15 minutes left, so we're right on track. I want to pick somebody that I haven't picked before. Is there anybody that wants to help me? You want to help me? Okay, what's your first name? Rachel, come on up. You can leave everything there. All right, excellent. So we'll have you stand over here. And what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to think about what's important to you. So whatever you wrote down, imagine it right now in your mind. And nobody knows what it is, right?
Only I showed one person.
Oh, who'd you show? Oh, she has to leave. No, just kidding. That's funny. All right. So have you ever felt this thing? Hopefully it's a feeling or a value or something that you can visualize. Is it true?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I want you to think of a time when you felt really positive about yourself, or really happy, or excited. Can you think of one?
About myself? Or
Yeah.
just happy in general?
Well, I would say happy, like a happy experience.
Okay.
Okay, do you have it? So don't just think of it, I'd like you to go there, like you're actually gonna go to that place. So see what you're seeing, like imagine like it's a movie playing. So you're actually seeing it, and then you're feeling it, right? So on a scale to 1 to 10, how, like I was asking Penny, how confident do you feel about what you wrote down that it's gonna come to you? Like on a scale of 1 to 12, I asked her 1 to 12. Give me a number.
Maybe like a 4.
Okay, good. So she's a 4. So watch this. This really is a summary of the whole lecture. So we're going to use your imagination. What you see, what you feel, and what you hear. So she's a 4. So I have this pack of cards. And what I did, you can take a look at them. What I did is I put affirmations on every single card. So the first card is stay positive, think successful. The next card is there's only one rule in life, love yourself. The next card is no fear, no limits. So take a look at the cards, find one that you really like, and let me know when you got it. Imagination is the first step towards reality. It's my favorite. Another one is, you got one?
Yes.
Okay, what do you got?
Be grateful of what you have and life will bring you more.
Be grateful for what you have and life will give you more. That's excellent. So can you memorize that?
Yes.
All right, great. So now what I want you to do is I want you to feel the time that you felt really confident and really blissful in anywhere in your life. All right, you got it?
Okay.
And you said you were a 4 earlier. Is that what you said? All right. Now I want you to imagine there's a circle here. There's a circle, and on that floor is a very happy circle. It's a blissful circle. It is a great circle. It is, what color?
Orange.
Orange. So she picked, so what are we doing? We're playing with her imagination just like we were working with Penny. She sees a circle there. She tells me she's thinking about something, and then she's telling me that she sees an orange circle here. Now I want you to go back, say this to yourself, say it out loud. Go ahead, say it right down.
Be grateful for what you have and life will bring you more.
And then step into that circle. Now, tell me how you feel on a scale to 1 to 12 about what you wrote down. You feel any different?
Maybe a 6.
All right, so step back. Give her a hand. So what are we doing here? We're simply playing with her imagination. What are we doing? She's seeing something on the floor. What color is it?
Orange.
All right. And she's saying to herself,
Be grateful for what you have and life will bring you more.
and then she's stepping into a circle, and then after that, she goes from a
4.
up to a 6. All right, you can put the cards right over here. Now stand over here. Now imagine that this circle is different. It's totally different. It is a circle of sadness. It's a circle of, I don't know, depression. It's a circle of anxiety. So what color would that be?
Black.
All right, black. All right? Now, I don't want you to go too deep into this, but can you think of a time when you were like disappointed? Or we all have them, right? Hopefully you don't live there. All right, so I want you to play the movie in your mind. Actually, you're rehearsing it in your head. Do you have one? All right, so now I want you to step into the black circle. All right, she's there. Stay there for a second. But tell me how you feel on the scale of 1 to 12.
3.
She's 3. Step back. Give her a hand. So what are we doing? We're simply playing with her imagination. Is there a circle on the floor? No. Is there a circle over here? No. All right. Now let's try something again. What did you say over here? Be grateful for what you have and life will give you more. Now I want you to do this. I want you to step into the black circle, and I want you to say to yourself, I'm not grateful and I won't get anything.
I'm not grateful and I won't get anything.
All right, now how do you feel?
Pretty crappy.
All right, on a scale of, you were a 3 before, what do you know?
Oh, I'm sorry. 2.
So she's a 2. Give her a hand, that's wonderful. All right, so step back over here. Let me ask you, do you smell lemons? Do you smell lemons at all? Do you smell lemons?
Not really.
Okay, no, all right, that's fine. So we're going to do this again. We're going to have you step into this orange circle and tell me how you feel now.
5.
Yeah, all right, now step back. Let me give you the card. What does it say?
Be grateful of what you have and life will bring you more.
Think of a time that you felt grateful. Think of a time that you felt really good about yourself. Got it?
Okay.
Now step into the circle, the orange circle. And tell me how you feel now.
7.
Excellent, step back. I'll take the card, and then we'll have you step over here.
Uh-oh, you're not trying to get me to a 1, are you?
No. So here's a lock for you. Here's a lock for you.
Thank you.
And here are 2 keys. And these 2 keys will not open the lock. So I want you to step into the black circle right now and try the 2 keys. They will not open. They will not open. That one doesn't work. That one doesn't work. Try it. Try another one.
They're the same.
Yeah, they are, but you know, some people might think you tried 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times and eventually, like, you know, bingo. So, do you feel a little frustrated, or how do you feel right now knowing that that's not working for you?
I feel like it's a good thing it's not holding anything personal or
Yes,
important on the other side.
Exactly. So, on a scale of 1 to 12, where are you as far as in this black circle? How do you feel?
Frustration.
Frustrated. Okay, great. Step back. All right, now I'm going to give you this. Over here, we'll have you stand on that side. And this is the only key that opens it. So here's where I'm going to ask her to use her imagination. This key is different than those 2 keys. And then once I hand you this key, I will not touch the lock, I will not touch the keys. Imagine, and this is the $1 million equation. Imagine in your mind, and I would never set you up and embarrass you, so this is going to happen. Imagine that you see this key, and I hand it to you, and you don't get them mixed up. You know that this is the key. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the key, you're going to put it in the lock, and you're going to feel it, and then you're going to turn it, and when you turn it, you're going to hear it. And then you're going to say, what did you say over here?
Be grateful of what you have and life will bring you more.
Exactly. So be grateful for what you have, and life will bring you more. And that's what you're going to actually say, and you're going to feel it. So I don't want to mix it up with the keys, so you're going to have to separate it somehow.
Okay.
Yeah. And just go ahead, step in the orange circle, and then put the key in, the one that I just gave you. Absolutely. Give her a hand. All right. So now what I'd like you to do is lock the lock.
Okay.
Is it lock, lock, lock?
It is?
Then go like this with the keys. Now, do you know which one opens?
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay, so maybe give them to her and have her shake them up so that you don't know. All right. Now step back out of your orange circle. Now imagine this just for a moment. Imagine that you're going to step into the circle, and when you do, you're going to pick one of those keys. And one of them is going to open the lock, the other 2 are not. And imagine that before you do it, you're going to see yourself selecting the right key. You're going to see yourself putting the key into the lock, and just as you rehearsed it before, it will open. Now, how do you feel about the outcome of what we're talking about right now?
I feel confident.
Okay, now I also want to give you this so that you can say this to yourself, right? And say that out loud.
Be grateful of what you have and life will bring you more.
Absolutely. All right, so pick one of the keys. Excellent, give her a hand. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All righty. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so at this point I use a question and answer. Does anybody have any questions? Anybody? Questions and answers. I got a couple minutes. I got 3 minutes and then we'll close exactly at 6:30. Any questions? While I pack up here.
If I give you my email address, how soon can you put that on?
It will be up tomorrow. That is a great question. So if you're interested in, let me see, the list is over here. Well, you can fill it out as you leave. you can fill it out as you leave. So all it is you have to just print it. So if you print it here, and then what I'll do is I'll give you the video. So if you want to, but the thing is you have to print it because if somebody puts a 0 and I think it's an O or something like that, it doesn't work. Any other questions? So if you want more information, I don't sell these, but what this is really, I bottled up a lot of information that Kenton taught me, and I put it on a card. It's almost like a Stop and Shop card. There is an email on the back, and all you do is you download the number. There's a bunch of files. I don't sell them. When I do corporate speaking, they're $95. I only have 3 of them. If you want one, it's easy to get one. All you have to do is tell me the first person that tells me the date my uncle showed me the coin trick.
1972.
There you go. Give her a hand. So, I have 2 left. They're $20 as a donation, no pressure. But what you'll do is you'll take it home, just take the number. Once you download the code, you can't, pass it on. But it's a first baby step. The other thing is if you sign up on the list, I do have some free information where you can get information talking about how to use your imagination, so that you can sharpen your focus. I'll tell you something, I don't really think I would be here today if it were not for 1972 on Christmas. Really, when my uncle picked up the quarter and made it disappear. It literally changed my life. I wish this was 1972, but it's not. It's an earlier coin. But what I learned from him is this. That's just a trick. That's just a trick. But the real magic is getting and staying focused. Can you imagine that? Have a good night. Oh, I'll need the